a lot of you don't know me, so I'm going to do a brief bio, and then we're going to talk a little bit about ITC, the different categories, a few definitions, and then we'll get into the process and methods for scrying. And I'm going to go over the progression of how I got into water scrying. Then we'll go over the photos of my work, and at the end we'll do questions and answers. And if you have any questions, if you want to put them in the chat box so you don't forget, but then we'll go to those at the end of the presentation. I was born in North Carolina, and I moved to Atlanta in my early 20s. I am a hairstylist and salon owner. I'm not a professional medium, so not sure if anyone was, aware of exactly what I do. I am a paranormal investigator and researcher. I've done that for many years. I've done some lecturing to paranormal groups. I also founded a Facebook group called the ITC Collaboration, which is, we have about 500 members, and it's people that use ITC in the paranormal world. I've also written a few articles for a magazine called the Paranormal Inquisitor. It's an online magazine, but it's now available in print. It's a really good magazine with great information. My background is in radio ITC, instrumental transcommunication, and that is using electronic devices for spirit communication. The radios that we use in the paranormal world are unlike what most afterlife researchers are using. The afterlife researchers usually use radios and tune into one frequency, where the radios that we use have been altered to scan the frequencies extremely fast, and we use that white noise and sound bites to have the spirits be able to speak to us, and we get really great results that way. And there are a few radios made specifically for this. This is the PSP-11 and the PSP-7. This is just a picture of some of the things excuse me, I use in my paranormal work in the ITC. This is a PSP-11 radio. This is a Radio Shack radio that I have altered that creates white noise. I get a lot of really great responses with this one. And this is a device that is a amplifier with a noise reduction guitar pedal, and then the sound moves over to an echo pedal. So it clears out all the static noise, and then the words that the spirits wants us to hear come out quite clearly. And I have a lot of examples of that on YouTube if anyone would be interested. As I said, instrumental transcommunication is the use of electronic equipment for sound and image recordings of spirit communication. The modern day things that we use in ITC are radios, televisions, computers, audio, mainly digital recorders now. I do have a cassette recorder that I use sometimes, and I've gotten results from it. And telephones, which is a rare happening, but I think the most famous telephone from the other side is from Constantine Raudove, if anyone is familiar with those phone calls that he had called friends after he had crossed over to the other side. And I believe those videos are on YouTube. But these are the modern techniques of ITC. The ancient techniques were scrying. Those were the things that they used way back when, before we had electronics, basically before we had electricity. I am the medium for a paranormal investigation team called the Mystery Center for Advanced Paranormal Phenomena. We only deal with private home cases. We don't deal with any just fun haunted building cases. We also have a documentary coming out this year that profiles a lot of our more interesting cases, and really proud of one case in particular from this summer, so I'll let you know when that comes out. All right, here's a word that you'll hear a lot in spirit communication and scrying and in the paranormal world. It's called divination, which is the art or practice of seeking knowledge of the future or to be inspired by God, to gain knowledge or insight into a particular question or situation. These are obtained by supernatural means, but as we know in the afterlife world that we're dealing with, the spirit world. Scrying. What is scrying? It's an ancient form of divination. It's also been called things such as seeing or peeping, and it is a way of looking into the past, present, or future. So remember when you see some of the images that they could be from the future. This is a practice of looking into a suitable medium, such as a crystal ball, which most of us are aware of, a black mirror, smoke, steam, or water. These are the more common means that people use for scrying. And scrying is done in the hope of detecting significant messages or visions. The objective may be personal guidance in your life, prophecy, some type of revelation, or inspiration. Inspiration is something I ask for quite a bit in my scrying, and on my mediumship development journey, I ask spirits for inspiration. Through the ages, this has been a prevalent form of spirit communication. I was really happy with all of my audio ITC that I had gotten, but I had seen people were getting spirit images, and that intrigued me quite a bit, so I wanted to see if I would be able to get images of spirit. And one method I had seen was a video loop playback, but I tried it, and with the limited equipment I had, I could not get that to work. But I did have an old television in the garage. So I devised this experiment using black mirrors, which are, a type of the ancient type of scrying, and then with the newer technology of the television. So I would place the mirrors across from the television and then place the video camera towards the mirror and video the mirror. And these are some examples of the images that I captured. Not great images, but promising enough to get me really excited and want to keep going. And I'm going to describe these as the way I interpret them, but everyone does see things differently and have their own opinions. But to me, this is a young boy. He has very dark eyes. This is the nose, the mouth, the chin, and this is the top of the head. Would be the forehead. And people have said that they think this may be a bird sitting on his shoulder. So it's possible. Here's another image. This appears to me, I feel it's more of a masculine face, but here would be an eye. Here's an eye, bridge of the nose, tip of the nose, and the mouth. I don't know what it is about this photo, but it gives me a warm feeling. I mean, from the moment I saw it, I get a great feeling about this photo. And here's another one. This one's not great, but you can see eyes starting to form, nose. You can even see some teeth on the mouth here. And then a profile of a face starting here. So these are interesting, but not great. Here are a few more examples of this experiment. This one's a little more easier to see. Here, to me, this one seems more feminine. The eye, nose, mouth. And then here, a little more grimacing, but you can see the eyes, nose, and mouth. Now, those were interesting, but not great, so I wanted to try something else. So I moved on to smoke scrying. And my technique for smoke scrying, I used burning sage I tried incense and candles, and I've also tried steam from like a room vaporizer. But I burn the sage, use a white light, and I also use different colored lights with the smoke sometimes, but I video the smoke and then go through it and see what images I get. And here's one. This, to me, appears to be a face, the two eyes, the nose, mouth, with his arm reaching up where he's trying to touch the light. This was the white light I was using. Also a profile here. I thought this was a fun picture, considering it's smoke. Here are a few more examples of the smoke. There's a face here. This one, to me, is a profile of a woman's face here. This is the top of the head, the shoulder, the neck, and this is, I think, is her hand up to her forehead. And here is the forearm. Here's another one, and you can see this gentleman right here pretty clearly. Everyone good with that? So next we get into water scrying. I have been, I was watching people on YouTube and different people on Facebook doing water scrying, and I thought I would give that a shot because they seem to be getting clearer, better pictures of spirit. So what I started getting was something completely different. So Spirit had a different idea of what they wanted to show me, which turns out to be actually, I think, beautiful. So I want to explain a bit about the images before I get into the water scrying. My images are not like a typical photo of a person. So when you see the picture, it's not going to look like a yearbook snapshot. A lot of them are in profile. And one image may contain several faces, and sometimes multiple faces will morph into one larger face. So you really have to study some of these images and you'll see different things. Some appear to be wearing different types of clothing. A lot have on hats, or to me they look maybe like helmets or something, but there's definitely clothing there. Now, I'm going to describe these pictures the way I interpret them, but everyone may see something different. And, you know, I think Spirit shows us what we need to see, so everyone will probably see something different. Now, I have a very particular process before I do a scrying session. I first do a sitting in the power meditation, if most of you are familiar with what that is. And after I've done a power meditation, I then set my intention. It's what I'm going to be asking for in a scrying session. I usually ask for spirit guides, my angels, my teachers who have been helping me with my mediumship development, or my ancestors, or just any spirits of the highest and best that would like to show themselves and be remembered in a photograph. And a lot of people always ask me, what do you do for protection? Are you not afraid of opening a portal? Blah, blah, blah. No, because I've sat in the power, I've raised my vibration, and I've set my intention. So even though some of the images may be a bit spooky looking, or some say scary, to me they're not, because I know what I have asked for and I know what's coming through, because I've got a team on the other side. They're not going to let something nasty through. Here's the fun part. I just want you to know you do not need expensive, fancy equipment to be able to do this. So I use a stainless steel bowl, which is actually a mixing bowl out of my kitchen. And I use a black reflective bowl. Now the black bowl is actually the inside of my crock pot, my slow cooker. It works, and I already had it. And just basic ordinary tap water. Now I use a combination of different colored lights. I use a red light. And the reason I did that because a lot of the physical mediumship seances, I always hear they use red light. So I thought, well, if they use it for that, maybe they'll see the red light and be more apt to come visit. So I use a combination of red, white, a full spectrum light, which contains IR light, which is a light ray that we don't see with our eyes. I also use natural sunlight. I do scrying outside, and I also do it sometimes by a window. After I've done all the meditation and everything, and I choose what lighting I want to use, I will put my hand into the water. And I don't put my whole hand into the water. I'll just use a few fingers in the water. And I'll just move the water back and forth, gently creating ripples in the water. Now I'm filming this with a video camera, just a plain video camera aimed towards the water. I have tried using other things to move the water. I've actually used a big wooden spatula and spoon. I've tried shaking the bowl, moving the water to create ripples, and I get absolutely nothing. And I couldn't figure out, I was like, well, why am I not getting anything? I only get images when I have my hand in the bowl. So it just leads me to believe that maybe it's my energy that's giving them what they need to manifest these images. I just find that there's got to be something there because my hand has to be in the water in order for me to get images. A usual session lasts about a minute to a minute and a half because that's a lot of still shots to go through. And if it's a really good session, I may get 10 great images out of one 1 minute session. Here is an example of one of the lights that I use. This is a multicolored bulb. It has all kinds of different colors in it. It's called a stained glass bulb. This is my setup. This is my video camera. As you can see, I have it aimed towards the water. This is the silver bowl that I use. And I have this light shining on it. And in this instance, the way I have it turned, it's giving the water a green cast. And here's a combination of stained glass and the red light on the water. This would be the colors that the water will be. And each different color combination gives me a different result. And I do all this in my office room at home. I don't have some fancy studio or anything. It's all right here in this room. Here is the red light reflecting on the black bowl. And like I said, this is actually my crock pot. But it's very reflective and I get great results out of it. This is a combination of red and white. And sometimes I use an umbrella to soften the glow on the water. You do not want to put the bulb directly over the water because you will see this. You want it at an angle. So let's get into some of the images. I have 2 books on Amazon of my images. I had thought about doing a book for a long time, but I had no idea why. It was just something I was playing with. And in Susan Barnes' development class, there was, we give each other readings and practice in the class. There was a woman in the class that I had never seen before. She'd never been in our classes, but she was giving me a reading and she said, I see a Native American with you. Well, I have Cherokee ancestors. I thought, okay, well, that's not unusual, but I knew I already had this image. And then she asked me if I was thinking about doing a book. Well, I had been, and she said that this Native American wants me to do the book. She didn't know anything about me, that I did water scrying or anything. So that was just reinforcement that I had to do something for spirit to share these images. So I just basically said, well, if you want me to do this, spirit, you're going to have to show me how, because I don't have a clue how to do it. But this one, to me, I believe is one of my Native American spirit guides. Here's an eye, the nose, the mouth, other eye, and the braided hair coming down here. I put this image here so you could compare the braid of this actual photo of a Native American and this braid that's coming here. This was, these two images were done with the silver bowl with the white, red, and the stained glass light. Now, this image, to me, the way I interpret it, is almost something like a holy person in this big white hat and white robe. But if you look here, there's a face here. To me, this seems like an arm, but there is also a small face right here. So I don't know what's being depicted in this scene, but there's definitely something going on. But I get a great feeling from this picture, but you definitely see the face here and right here. Now here are two with the silver bowl and just the white light. Now remember before I said people think some of my images are scary and frightening and are worried. So these are two that people think are very frightening. To me, they're not. I think they're all beautiful because I already know what I've asked for and what's in my heart. So, and you know, these could be from the future because scrying, we do ask for past, present, and future. But to me, these are eyes, nose, mouth, chin. There's also another face popping in here. Here's, to me, it seems female. See the eye here, the nose, mouth, and the chin. And people are terrified. They think this is a horn, but it may be, but unicorns have horns and they're beautiful and nice, so that doesn't scare me. This is my warrior friend, I call him. This was done with silver bowl and the white light. You can see his eyes, nose, mouth, chin. He has a square collar. This is the sleeve of whatever it is he's wearing with his arm and hand coming out. And when you enlarge this, which I have done, this almost looks like a sword. It has some kind of banding look right here. It's also a face popping in here, and he's dragging this behind him. This one is in profile. This to me is the face. She has on some type of robe or gown or headdress. And if you look closely in here, there is there's a little face like this. She's holding a baby. If you all get intrigued enough to purchase a book, the best thing to do is to get a magnifier or magnifying glass or magnifying sheet and hold up to the images, and you'll be surprised what pops out. I've been looking at some of these for a long time, and I look at them again and something else pops out at me. But I really love this one. This is the silver bowl with the red and white lights. To me, this is a woman in profile. Eyes here, nose here. You can see the white of her teeth, her lips, and her chin, and this throat. She has on either a mask or a headdress. I'm not sure what's going on here, but she's smiling, and to me, she looks like she's having a good time. There's also a face trying to come in here. This one is looking right at us. You can see his eyebrow, his eye, his nose. This is the chin. His hair is sweeping over to the side, black hair, looking very intense. I love this one. And here are some fun ones. This is also done with the silver bowl and white light. This one is done with the black bowl and the red and white light. This man has a very large nose. You can see his eye, his mouth, chin, his neck, and he's wearing a very tall hat. And he has his other person here, as you can see, a deep set eye, face forming. And also see some type of clothing. This may be the collar of a jacket here. This is one that I find very interesting. This man is wearing a mask to me. You can see the eye, there's a stripe across the face, the lips, jaw, and the chin. And his arm is coming out, and this is the hand. Now this one is fun. You can see the eye, the nose, has a recessed chin, the mouth, and he's got, I don't know what kind of hat on top of his head. There's the number 5 or an S there. This was caught on the very edge of the bowl because this is the rim of the bowl. Now we go outside under the trees in the sunlight. This is on a sunny day outside, and I get a completely different look in the images when I'm outside. This is a man in profile. As you can see, the nose, the mouth, has a long chin, and a very odd shaped head. And this is the throat. Are you able to see that? It's quite different from the other ones. And this one to me appears to be more feminine. This is the eye, forehead, nose, mouth, and chin going down to the neck. That one's a little harder, but once you see it, you see it. This is a silver bowl with the white light, and sometimes I get completely different looks with the light. It's however it comes out. This one's in profile, the nose, the mouth, and the chin. This is the neck. It's like there's a collar of a shirt. But there are a lot of faces in this one. There's another face profile here. There's one down here. And there are a few more in there. I forgot where they were, but there's quite a few in this image. Oh, there's one right here. This is part of a face peeking out of a black, it looks like some type of black hood, but you can see the nose, the mouth, and the chin. This is a sleeve and his arm and the fingers coming out here. Everyone good with that one? This one is done with the black bowl and white light. This one creeps some people out. I think it's beautiful. There's an eye here, here's the nose and mouth, and you can see a few teeth here. Here's the chin and the neck. This one is the silver bowl outside in the sunlight, and we have a little astronaut right here. As you can see the face that's in here, and this looks like, to me, a round helmet of some type, like a bubble. And depending on how you look at this, there's a face here. But they just seem to be floating out here with the stars. Now these are the black bowl outside on a cloudy day. There was no sun that day, so I got a completely different look. These are my fingers in the water. But you can see this eye here, the nose, and the mouth. To me, I think she could be extraterrestrial, maybe from the future, but I think she's pretty. This is a lady in profile. Eye, the nose, the lips, chin. This is the neck and the shoulders. That one takes some people some time to see, but once you see it, it's really there. Okay, we'll move over here to the black bowl with the multicolored lights. To me, this one has on a hat, either sunglasses or dark eyes, nose, mouth, and chin. Very colorful. Then we move over here, and this one's pretty obvious to see. You see the eyes, the nose, the mouth, the chin. This one was right on the edge of the black bowl. Some people say it looks like Santa Claus. I don't get that, but people see what they want to see. Now this one is the black bowl outside under the trees and in blue sky. And people, do you see the face in there? It's right here. You have an eye, the nose, the mouth, and this would be the chin. Now, is that spirit or is that an elemental, an earth energy? Not quite sure about that one. There's also some type of, looks like an animal head here with the neck. Move over here to the silver bowl that's outside, and you see a man's face in here with some type of, to me it appears to be like a helmet or armor of some type. He's got deep set eyes, nose, you can actually see the teeth in there in his lips. Everybody with me so far? Or are you just like, what the heck's going on?
No, they're good, Philip.
Okay. This is the cover of book 2. This is the silver bowl with the red and white light. This lady's in profile. You see her eyes, nose, pretty lips, she's resting her chin, it looks like. Her hair sweeping over to the side. It has a very 1920s feel to me for some reason. I just love this picture. This one is the silver bowl with the white light. And to me, it appears to be a young child. As right here is the face. Eyes, little nose, a little mouth, little chin, and the chubby cheeks with some type of cap on. And there are 3 stitches, or not quite sure, but there's 3 right there that's holding this piece to this piece. This one's actually shown up. He's come to me twice. These are the covers of my books. They're on Amazon. This one is around 66 pages. This one is, I think, 111 pages, which I didn't plan it that way. It just turned out that's one of my synchronicity numbers. They're 8x10 full-colored photos. Just got to pitch that a little bit. All right, here we have the black bowl with white lights. As you can see, here's a face, eyes, nose, mouth. And if you turn this one upside down, this turns into a person. There's the chin, the nose, So a lot of these you have to look from all different angles and directions because they will turn into something completely different. This one to me is the silhouette of a lady. This is the head, her shoulder, her arm coming down, cuff of the shirt, her hand, and she's carrying something. This would be the waist and then her skirt coming down. That's what I see. So a few days ago, I did a session and I asked specifically for faces of spirit that wanted to be in today's presentation. So these are the ones that I got that wanted to be seen today. You can see the eye here, the nose here, and the mouth here, the chin, with some large, perhaps hat. I'm not quite sure. Can everyone see that one? I call him the Pope because this looks like a Pope hat to me. This one is odd, but you have two eyes here, nose, mouth, chin. It's definitely looking at us. This is the silver bowl with the white light. All those were the silver bowl with the white light. Here we have an eye, nose, lips, chin, and then the neck and the shoulder. It's in profile. And here we have another face. See his eyes, his nose, his mouth, chin. He's looking in that direction. Everyone with me? Now these are quite interesting. These may be alien, they may be from the future, but I'm not sure. But see the eye here, you can see the black of the center of the eye, nose, two lips, and the chin. And then here, I don't know how to describe it. It looks like a Texas cowboy hat to me right here. And then this face right in here. There's an eye, mouth, and the chin. They wanted to be seen today, so I put them in the presentation. And here are two interesting ones, and this wraps up our presentation. But this one, you can see in profile, it almost looks Egyptian, but the hair is pulled back in a ponytail. You see the chest looking this way. And then this is a profile with maybe a helmet. I'm not quite sure. But that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed it. And we can start doing some questions if you'd like.